At what point is it absolute madness to continue talking about the same five things every single day, coming back, doubling back on topics from the day before? Well, my friends, that is the question we're asking ourselves today as the Erik Karlsson story continues to unfold, and there's another development across the NHL in terms of an Edmonton Oilers trade target that's been long rumored all season. Friends, this is Dolany TV. Thank you so much for tuning back in. If you're coming back after checking out yesterday's video, the Erik Karlsson, the Connor McDavid discussion yesterday, well, guess what? That is a top 4 video all time here on Dolany TV in terms of my Edmonton Oilers content. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for making that happen. I did not know what to expect with that video, but it became very evident very early on what that video was about to do, and I thank you so much to everybody that has tuned in so far to watch it. If you haven't, go check it out. Maybe a shameless plug of my other content at this point. Before we get there though, friends, as well, before we get into today's video, what I want you to do if you're new to the channel, consider hitting that subscribe button. You know, a lot of folks did that yesterday, and I hope that helped you find today's video a little bit better. But what I'm saying is we've got 10,580 of us crazy Oilers fans here on Dolany TV at time of recording this video. I'd love to have you because, hey, the sooner we can all discuss things, the sooner everybody gets informed and everybody gets the news they need. Hey, we are good to go, and everybody can have a good, quick Oilers brief, and away we go if you have other things to do. That said, this one might not be quick because we have two very major things to cover. Devin Shore is well in here, so let's get to it. Number one, Erik Karlsson continues to be a story today. That is the big thing. And this one, again, I want to give an update kind of on what's developing over on Twitter. Patrick and I have noticed quite an account coming up here for the Oilers on Twitter. At Oiler Alert on Twitter has been absolutely on top of everything anybody in the media when it comes to any trade rumor, anything the Oilers are doing. That account, I don't know who runs it, I don't know who's doing it, but they have been doing a fantastic job keeping a great accurate score of every little detail on Twitter for the Oilers. This is how I found out via my link down in Bakersfield, who's been sending me constant updates as well. Kind of this whole news generation cycle I have. Not to distract too far from what's on your screen there, but Oiler Alert had kind of pulled that up in a quote tweet, and this is where this whole discussion will steady from. But this is a Jason Gregor tweet in this thread right here by Darren at OilerFanYYC on Twitter that this comes out of. So we'll backtrack to this in a moment, but basically the summarized that is from Oiler Alert on Twitter is the Oilers have gone far enough down the road on Carlson to ask Evander Kane for his opinion. That, my friends, is why we are doing this update today. Okay, that's kind of how we're backtracking into why I'm doing this. So Darren had asked on Twitter earlier today about 10:29 this morning here on Valentine's Day to those who have somebody to celebrate it with. Here is something I haven't heard anyone talk about yet. If Evander Kane was not welcome in the San Jose locker room and not liked by his teammates, is bringing in a leader from the same San Jose team in Erik Karlsson, that's what EK65 stands for, by the way, to Edmonton, even a great idea. Now this is right, this is how Oiler Alert got their opinion out there, but essentially Holland has asked Evander Kane for his views, and Evander Kane said he had no issue with adding Erik Karlsson to the Edmonton Oilers. This according to Jason Gregor. There you have it, right? This is why we have an update today, is again this story continues to evolve, and as well too there seems to be some shifting stuff on the Erik Karlsson stuff today. I think I've seen also on Twitter that the whole ask about 3 first-round picks might not be accurate. Everything involved with Erik Karlsson, and this is something I didn't mention very much in that video yesterday, and I apologize for it, and that's why I'm talking about it now, is everything to do with Erik Karlsson pertains to salary retention. I believe based on what Bob Stauffer had put out in that trade proposal that I had thrown at you yesterday via Dustin Nielsen's Twitter account in the video on Erik Karlsson yesterday, is at 40% retained, about that 7.5 million mark. Now, what I did say right after is, well, you could go trade something else to Arizona or Buffalo and get more down, right? But that's if the San Jose Sharks aren't retaining that all. And that's where, okay, if the Sharks are going to go down only to 9 million or 8.5, maybe Evan Bouchard doesn't need to be included. Maybe Xavier Bourgault doesn't need to be included. And that's where this package is kind of a nuclear option to make it work. And that's the problem for the Oilers here. And we'll get into that in a matter of seconds here with the other package, is the Oilers are in a need position, right? They need something on the blue line to change the dynamic. Whether Leon and Connor want a puck-moving defenseman that can defend enough at the NHL level to give you a serviceable. I mean, are you going to say Erik Karlsson's a worse defender than Philip Broberg at this point? I don't know how to argue that one. But that's where we get into kind of where this all comes together for the Oilers. That's the Erik Karlsson situation. We move over to another man that has now been scratched here today for trade-related reasons, asset protection. And this is where we find Vladislav Gavrikov of the Columbus Blue Jackets, who at this point is now added to that list of players similar to Jakob Chychrun, who will not play until they are traded. Well, you find this one funny. Well, Gavrikov, another Oilers target. You kind of have a strewn kind of mess here of Oilers targets. Chychrun's out due to trade-related reasons. You have Gavrikov out due to trade-related reasons. And you have today the Oilers making calls to San Jose and then talking to Evander Kane to see if he's okay with them trading for Erik Karlsson. You kind of run the gamut, right? Chychrun's that middle option. Chychrun is that he's pretty okay defensively and he's pretty okay offensively. Probably your best bang for your buck if you're the Edmonton Oilers. Gavrikov is your bang it off the glass, shut him down defenseman, according to what I've kind of heard. Again, I don't know Gavrikov's game. I don't think I've watched him even outside of that Columbus game that I didn't even get a chance to watch. So that's where we find ourselves, right? Gavrikov, I think, out of the three would be your last option to pick. But for some reason, he is going to be equivalent player to player, almost as expensive, if not more expensive, than a guy like Erik Karlsson to acquire. It was noted today somewhere on Twitter, and I mean, you can find all this. I'm not just BSing you. I wouldn't do that. But it's noted today that he's going to cost upwards of a first round, third round, and fourth round pick to acquire him at this year's deadline or before. So you compare that with Jakob Chychrun, who's going to cost maybe 3 assets and a first round pick, right? And the first round pick is one of those 3 assets, and you get another year and everything. Whereas you're selling a first, third, and fourth for a rental at the deadline with a reasonable cap hit, and you're probably sending yes Puljujarvi because you somehow need to make that salary cap work as well. So that's where we find ourselves with that one. Another interesting note, and are the Oilers priced out there? More than likely, and that's probably a good thing, to be honest with you, because if we're talking about giving that much up for Gavrikov, go for Carlson. I mean, green light, squeal the tires, get gone, sell the farm for Carlson if that's what it's going to cost for Gavrikov, and you're talking to them as well. All right. Number 3 on the item board today, my friends, as we approach the 8.5 minute mark. There's a lot to talk about today, and I'm trying to talk and stay on topic as much as possible. Hey, you got to let my squirrel brain go for a few minutes at a time. Devin Shore has cleared waivers, been recalled by the Oilers, and is now waiver eligible all the way past the trade deadline. This is the beauty for the Oilers. So this is where a trade doesn't have to happen necessarily. If you need that $850K that Devin Shore's signed to, you can just send him down and clear it off the books just like that, without the risk of losing him on waivers, without the risk of needing to manipulate the roster any more than you already are. That's Devin Shore in a box. Kailer Yamamoto did not come off of LTIR today, and no, Jesse Puljujarvi was not on waivers today. The Oilers somehow found a way to do absolutely nothing with the situation, and I am having some major deja vu here, because I swear to you, I feel like I've told you this prior to a Detroit game before. I don't know if I did it last week, or if I'm doing it for the first time in reality and I dreamt it up or something, but this feels like major deja vu here. And guess what? For the Oilers, another day of just kicking the can down the road. We expected disappointment. We expected a lame result. We were not disappointed because we did not expect anything. And guess what? We got a lame result because we were expecting a lame result. So that's fine. That said, though, is all indications point that Kailer Yamamoto is ready to return. Item number 5. Friends, Jakub Vrana, I don't know exactly how to pronounce his first name, was recalled by the Detroit Red Wings today at the expense, I believe, of Lucas Raymond. That's another video you can find on YouTube here. But with that at this point, Jakub Vrana ready to go for the game tomorrow in Edmonton on the NHL roster, whether that be simply so as he could travel with the Red Wings for a potential trade to the Edmonton Oilers. And this is something Patrick and I debated quite heavily today, and I hate to be throwing this theory out because it just kind of plays to the madness of the moment more than it plays to being in reality, right? It doesn't play to, well, the Oilers are going to trade Puljujarvi for $3 million of Vrana. The Red Wings will retain the rest, and we clear up 2 problems and solve a problem as well at the same time. That plays to the blah, 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 too much noise up in the head and nothing's making sense kind of part of my brain. And that's where realistically it's just one of those things of it's interesting how the puzzle pieces move. Kind of similar to what I did with telling you about that private jet travel from the other day, is just watch the pieces move in the background. There's more to the NHL, there's more to player movement within your own team than just what you're seeing from your own broadcasters and your own media. There's more to it, right? And if that's kind of the positioning, jockeying that the Red Wings have to do to set up a Vrana trade, well, don't be surprised it happens, right? Is you got to pay attention all across the league, something I'm absolutely terrible at. But again, there's kind of things moving around in the background that you might not have seen today that seem to line up something that could potentially happen tomorrow. And that's the very fun part about this, is you just don't know how it's all going to come together tomorrow, because we had no clue what was going to come today. Me, Patrick, and every other Oilers YouTuber here on the web sitting here saying something has to happen by Tuesday, right? And we were saying something had to happen by Sunday only 2 days ago. So now here we go, kick the can down the road till tomorrow we play Detroit. And if the Oilers want Yamamoto in the lineup, they got to trade somebody, because guess what? You just simply can't waive somebody in time tomorrow. So again, we just kind of keep playing this game of kicking the can down the road, and it's just because Ken Holland keeps delivering lame result after lame result. But right, is Yamamoto actually ready to go like Oilers media says? Does he have some kind of, like, he gets out there, hits Brett Kulak into the boards, Kulak gets up, says, bro, that was a great hit, good to see you in good spirits, gives him a hug, and then Kailer Yamamoto goes and gets examined by the doctors, and he turns his neck to the right, and oh man, I got a pinched nerve still there or something, right? You just don't know those physical details as intimately as you get the video from practice, from the stands, from whoever reported it, I think Ryan Rishaug or somebody. So that's kind of the strings that are being pulled in the background. I guess you don't really know how that all works out. But when you look at it again today, right, another big day, and this is everything kind of coming together for the Oilers at this point, is it's really just kind of, and the reason I've started doing these style of videos, like, I mean, I always thought Patrick over at the Oilers Fanatic was genius for doing these videos, but the reason it's so key to do this right now is you got, like, everything is intertwined, right? This whole Erik Karlsson thing hinges on, well, okay, you got to have the right cap space, you got to have the right players to move, you got to have the right everything there, right? So you got to be able to do it, bing, bang, boom. Well, that involves the Kailer Yamamoto LTIR situation, because how long can you punt this down the road? How long can you do that? Okay, Gavrikov's now stretched while the Oilers have to somehow figure that situation out, right? Devin Shore is now clear, so that allows X, Y, and Z to happen. And that's the madness that is this NHL trade deadline. And let me tell you, if I'm going to be able to do what I've been able to do so far because of it, don't mind me. But let's at least try and keep it all focused, neat, nifty box, and keep it going. Friends, I'm Tyson. This is Dolany TV. Thank you so much for humoring me this afternoon. Might have some other selfish reasons why I packaged it all into one video. I'll leave that for you to figure out. But I'm up on out of here.